Hey guys, it's Brandon and Tim here from the Hindle team. This week for your Seller Saturdays, we're actually going to be talking about the 8 steps to downsizing. Now, before we dive into the 8 steps to downsizing, the first thing we wanted to talk about was actually the fear of downsizing. I know a lot of people that are considering downsizing and a lot of people that we talk to are really afraid of the concept of downsizing. They don't know where to go, what to do, where they want to, and really what's the rest of their life going to look like. So today, that's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover the 8 steps that you should be considering and thinking about when you're downsizing and how to really overcome that fear. So the first step to downsizing, Tim will cover for us.
Yeah. The first step to consider is when you are downsizing, where should you live? This is a huge consideration to make, obviously. You need to look at the community and what kind of lifestyle you want to lead. Are you looking for something a little quieter? Are you looking to move up somewhere where you can do activities and stay active? For example, a great community for that would be something like Collingwood, where you've got hiking, you've got skiing in the winters, and you can just stay active all year round. So it depends what you like as a person. It's a huge consideration to make because potentially if you are downsizing, you're looking for the home that you're probably spending the rest of your life in. So it's a huge consideration to make.
The next step to downsizing is really deciding what size of home you need to downsize into. So a lot of people that are downsizing, they have 2-story homes, three, 4 bedrooms, finished basements. So really a lot of space. So deciding what type of home you're going to downsize into is partly deciding what you want to bring with you into the next home, but then also deciding a few things that we'll cover shortly, which is how much space do you need? Do you need space for kids? Do you need space for pets? That kind of stuff. So really make sure you're considering how big a place you need to downsize to before you start looking for one.
Yeah, definitely, and that is the consideration that Brandon mentioned. Do you have family or pets? If you've got children who might potentially be looking to move back in, if you've got pets, maybe a condo isn't right for you depending on the policies. Do you perhaps have grandchildren on the way, at which point you're probably going to want a spare bedroom for when they come into town and they look at staying the night. It's a huge consideration to make, and it kind of depends where you are in your life and where your children are in their lives as well.
Mm-hmm. So, and one of the biggest things with downsizing that scares a lot of people and stops a lot of people is deciding, well, what do I do with all my stuff? And that's something that we hear all of the time. It's someone goes, okay, yeah, where would I go? And we kind of say, okay, well, here's some options for you. And they go, oh, yeah, no, actually, that sounds great. But what do I do with all my stuff? When we answer that question, it's really, do you need to keep all of this stuff? Over the years, people accumulate a lot of junk in their lives. Every single move I've had over the last 4 years, we purge stuff that we bought that just sat around and didn't really get used. So really, when you're downsizing, there's going to be a lot of it. A mix of things you want to be doing is you want to be considering selling some stuff. So whether that's through a garage sale, Kijiji, or Facebook Marketplace, whatever it happens to be, selling stuff is a great way to get rid of some of it. Giving some of it to your family and to your kids if you've got some who are now starting to move into houses or are renting their own places, going off to college or university, whatever it happens to be, they might need some furniture. So giving that furniture away to your friends or family. And then outside of that, the last thing you have to do once you've downsized is decide what I'm keeping and what I'm throwing away. Throw away everything else you don't need, and if you've got too much stuff when you downsize still, then start considering things like storage. And you can find some great storage all over the place for anything that you really, really want to keep, or for stuff that you might be keeping for your kids when they do go buy a house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the next point to consider is what activities do you want around the home that you are potentially moving to? As we mentioned, Collingwood for skiing is a great place. Do you like boating? Maybe you're looking to move south for the summers, maybe to Florida, where you can get yourself a nice boat, something on the lake potentially. Or do you just like a quiet lot where you can sit down and read a book in front of a fire? These are all important things to consider, and it kind of comes down to your personality. Obviously, we can't tell you what to do and what you want as a person, so it's something to think about.
Yeah. So the next step to downsizing is deciding what you want to do in terms of maintenance. So I know a lot of people that are downsizing are coming from bungalows, or not coming from bungalows, probably going to bungalows, but coming from 2-story homes, and they're downsizing to something smaller. At that point, you have to decide, do you want to keep doing the maintenance on your home? You have to mow your lawn every week, rake leaves, clean out the gutters, and really just take care of the place. Gardens, anything you can think of, all of that maintenance, you have to decide if you want to do that. If you want to continue doing that, then great. There's definitely a lot of options for you. And if you don't want to, then there's also a lot of options for you. You can look at moving into condos where all that stuff's covered, or you can still look at buying that bungalow or house that you own. There's no condominium fees. Just look look at potentially paying a landscaper, for instance, to come in and take care of that stuff, and a handyman. And this is good for if you want that extra free time, but it's also good for if you can't really handle all of that maintenance in the years to come. So really make sure you're considering what you want to do for maintenance, not just tomorrow, but also for 5 years, 10 years from now.
Yeah, and what Brandon mentioned at the end there is kind of our next consideration to make, and it's, do you have any health concerns when you are looking to downsize? You might want to consider moving somewhere closer to a hospital if you're getting on in age and, your partner's health isn't the greatest. On top of that, you might need to get into a condo that you don't have to do that kind of maintenance if you are getting on in age as well, because you might not be able to physically do that kind of work. So it's a consideration to make. You should be looking at your health and what you expect your health to look like in the coming future.
Yeah. And so our eighth and final step to downsizing is deciding how much money you need to allocate, or you can allocate, to buying your next place, and how much money you want to take out of your current place. So when I say that, I mean when you're downsizing, generally speaking, you'll probably be downsizing to something smaller that costs less. So what you need to decide is, out of my home equity, how much do I want to keep aside for things like myself and traveling and whatever else I want, as well as my kids, weddings, buying houses, that kind of stuff, what I want to do there, but also how much I want to keep aside to live. And then you also have to decide, and then that'll help you decide how much you can put into your next property, right? And you can do certain things, like you can buy, if you're looking at buying something like a condo, condos are a great investment right now because a lot of baby boomers are now retiring and they don't want the maintenance, so they're going into condos. So buying a condo now means you're probably going to see a lot of really good return over the years to come. So there's definitely a lot involved with downsizing, and these 8 steps should help you figure out exactly where you're going, how to get there, and what to consider. So thanks for listening today, guys, and if any of you have any questions regarding downsizing, selling your home, or how the market's doing, be sure to reach out anytime.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.